My name is Ian Angus, and from the Institute of the Humanities at SFU. The people at the back, there's some seats over here on this side. Please come in, and then these other people maybe squash over a little bit for you. We want to get everybody in. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that we're on the unceded and traditional territories of the Coast Salish people. You're in. Excuse me for just 1 second. Okay, well, I next want to just spend a couple of moments. I'm not going to do fancy introductions of everybody. Everybody who's coming here has done a lot of things and many useful things. George Rammell, who has made this monstrosity behind me, was born in Cranbrook in BC. He's been a practicing artist in this territory for many long years and practiced with Bill Reid, amongst others, and has in recent years got into a big kerfluffle with Capilano University for shutting down the art program, and they destroyed one of his pieces of political art, satirizing the president up there. So he's recently turned his talents towards doing political art for the anti-TMX struggle. And so we're very pleased to make this part of this piece of unveiling as part of that struggle. George Rammell.
Well, I just want Reuben George to come up here and pull off that veil.
Broke Ken's injunction that protects Trans Mountain Pipeline. You can't break Ken's injunction.
There's hundreds of you, but you're all guilty. This won't take long. Remember, I'm right, you're wrong. Climate collapse isn't a virtual certainty. It's just foreseeable or likely. There's a contingency, remember. Social measures may prevent a dire outcome. You broke my injunction. You can't break my injunction.
Will George, how would you like it if someone parked in your driveway?
You've been parked in our driveway for 150 years.
Where did that Tsleil-Waututh live anyway? Does anybody know? You can't break Ken's injunction. You can't break our injunction.
What's this, young man? You say Time immemorial? What does that mean, time immemorial? David and Jennifer, there's no air of reality to your claims. The contingency might save us. I don't need to look at your evidence or hear from your climate expert witnesses. You can't break my injunction. You can't break my injunction. Keep our arms locked together so they can't drag us away. David and Jennifer, you could have chosen to do nothing and let the process unfold. As unpalatable as that may seem to you, I will not allow your evidence or your expert witnesses in this court.
But we have no alternative through politics or law.
21 days for you. Take them away. There, that'll keep them quiet.
They're not scared of us. We need to raise the stakes, cut the 5-step warnings, and add big fines. Your environmental concerns are of no concern to this court. I'm not a scientist, I'm a judge. And I conclude your views are entrenched. Emily Kelsel, you and your friend Maya broke Ken's injunction.
But if we do nothing, we suffer from eco-anxiety.
Eco-anxiety? Is that a real word? Eco-anxiety? Order! 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 It's off to the Alouette Women's Correctional Center for you. Take her away!
You hot-headed, limp-wristed, petulant fool. You small-minded, microscopic, mental tool. Defending the undefendable, promoting the perverted, twisted tirade where you use what is worded in law to uphold the will of oppressors. You quash all resistance to your murderous measures. We fight and we love and we burn because we care. You are the evil you spare to impair.
Take her away!
Good, and I'm glad, and I'll do it again. You don't scare me, just beauty and friends. This system is twisted. Why try and pretend I'd lay down my life for this pipeline to end?
Take her away! That's what you get for breaking Ken's injunction. You all broke Ken's injunction.
Well, there you have it. Well, it's such an honor to have Reuben George pull the veil off this piece. It adds a lot of credibility. It was great having the solidarity notes here with Earl Peach. I just love his pieces. I just love that community that he builds, regardless of what we do. You know, it doesn't matter what our skill sets are. This movement needs everything. Minister Barry Morris, I was brainstorming trying to find a site for this, you know, and when I first thought of the church here, because, you know, Barry was arrested, he's been holding meetings here with Jim for years, Jim Lydon, and Nancy suggested this is the perfect place because churches are a place of refuge and sanctuary in times of war, and it just seems appropriate somehow. I've got to thank the BC Arts Council because they financed this project. I would never have been able to do it without their funding. And you know, it's interesting. I think I got it because Quetzalcoatl, a Stolo matriarch, wrote a really powerful letter of support for me. And Gujal, Chief Skadans of Haida Gwaii, he wrote a really powerful letter. He actually said it would be a good investment. And when I first sent my artist statement to Ian, writer, philosopher, and dear friend Ian Angus, he immediately responded, "We've got to do something." So here we are. And of course, Tim Takaro made sure that we maximize the exposure for this piece. Tim works like crazy at this stuff. It's incredible. You know, when I think of Tim, I think of him providing seminars, educational seminars to the world from his laptop way up in a cottonwood tree above Burdett Creek. And I think, my God, what a powerful resistance that is. Ecologist Christine Thuring. I just hold on. Christine has been working like Tim behind the scenes to maximize the exposure for this. And she is very qualified to be the voice of Fitzpatrick. Yeah, it was great. Very informed. David Gooderham and Jennifer Nathan are here, and they are my mentors in terms of really understanding the science and politics of what's really going on here. You know, and well, I mean, it's complicated. There's so many layers to it. But you know, David is such a powerful lawyer because he's also an artist, and he thinks outside the box. He really does think differently than a lot of lawyers because he's so creative. And his blogs are amazing. Go to Gooderham Nathan, and you'll see a huge collection of essays and years of research that the judges are terrified of. Nancy has been so supportive all the way through this. My wife, she did all the sewing. She sewed all the gowns. You know, beautiful job. and Nancy did all the. I'm a dinosaur. Digitally, you know, I guess that's why she handed me this. But you know, the thing is, she put this essay together for me that it was with photos and everything. She's a genius. You know. She's an artist too. And my son Coulter coached me on welding techniques to keep me going. And halfway through the job, our TIG welder broke down, and he put a new solenoid switch in for me, kept me going. It was amazing, you know. Alex Phillips is here, artist, educator, writer, Alex Phillips. She has arranged an exhibition for this piece for 2 weeks in June at the Emily Carr. So I'd like Tim to speak now. Yeah.
Thanks, George. I just wanted to thank everyone for coming, and also thank a lot of people behind the scenes that made this happen. The Protect the Planet media team, Lucas and Elwyn, thank you very much for the video. Renee Desro and Mark Jacobs, who were our strongmen this morning. I also really want to thank Mary Armakelian, who arranged for the streaming. So there are many more people able to see this tonight, thanks to Mary's work. And again, the Protect the Planet media team getting the word out. So it takes a lot of people to make something like this happen, and they all deserve to be thought of and remembered.
You know, I'd like to say, if I was really wealthy and wanted to do something, I would channel money to like Raven, you know, respecting Aboriginal values and environmental needs, and I'd give some money to protect the planet. There's so many groups, But I would also, invest in some young people because they can motivate other young people. And when I think of like the Braided Warriors or Zane Hack or Emily Kilsaw, I mean, these are young people that really have the capacity to mobilize in a really massive way for the kids that are scared about their future. And, providing them with a piece of plastic to just buy what they need to keep going on this inertia would be so valuable. How much are they going to spend as coffee money to some people? Emily might go out and buy 100 T-Rex outfits. The last thing Justin Trudeau's going to want is to see a herd of T-Rexes coming down the road towards him, And her determination reminds me of Helen Caldecott. For those of you that are old enough to remember, she took on the nuclear proliferation resistance in the States in the 70s. If you're younger, you might want to look up the video, If You Love This Planet. You'll see what I mean by determination. When Emily put on her hood and growled at Fitzpatrick in court, I think there was a turning point in the public consciousness. I think that the public suddenly realized, wow, like that's what it's down. Like, really? They're jailing our youth for telling the truth about climate change? Is that really it's ridiculous what's going on. I think she needs to be removed from the bench, period. I'm quoting David Gooderham here, but her courtroom is ugly. She treats Indigenous people like they don't possess their own agency, and her courtroom is a colonial environment where she's just pushing dispossession. You feel like you're in the 1930s in her courtroom. It's embarrassing, it's ugly, it's racist. And she is not fit to be on the bench. Right? You often wonder how judges get coronated to be judges. Like how did this guy get to be a Supreme Court judge? I've been thinking I always thought they were superior human beings with a real insight in the world, right? Philosophers. His role in life, his role in life was to be a lawyer for big tobacco. That's his history. Yeah. I beg your pardon. It's true. You defended big tobacco for years. I did not. You did too. Let's take a look at this sculpture. Okay, we have the crown at the top. It's covered in jewels from all over the Commonwealth. Okay, and then we've got the fur trade. Oh, it's interesting. The Beavers are holding a CSIS recruiting banner. You can get a job as a spy. A Canadian spy agency would love you to work for them. You can spy on Indigenous elders and their allies. Okay, we have the lion. He's got the crown on his butt. But wait a minute. That's not his arm. Nancy noticed that that's actually Justin's arm. And he's holding a halo that says, "Ignore Indigenous law." Whoa. And there's a drop of oil with light coming from above to the judge's head. Okay? In 1982, his dad brought the Constitution home. And along with that came a responsibility for Canada to treat First Nations fairly. Oh. You know why the actual Canadian coat of arms has a unicorn on it? That's a symbol of Scotland. And the reason it's in chains is because Britain took it by force in the late 14th century. That coat of arms, which Bill Reid always said the coat of arms was like the closest thing to a totem in that it speaks to your ancestry, right? Okay, British ancestry, okay? It's British ancestry. It's time to retire it, but the fact that this is a symbol of conquest, that's what these judges are working under. That's the mindset that they're focused on, right? They've got blinders on. They have such a limited worldview because that's all they know. It's like the world monetary system coming down from above. They're working under that. I drew them in court. They're literally under that symbol of conquest.
Who's the man from Vlad?
Okay, this is Chief Justice Robert Bauman, whose lips conveyed judicial buffoonery of a historic scale. When he actually told David Gooderham, after he told him he was going to ignore all his evidence and his scientific witnesses, that you could have chosen to do nothing and let the process unfold. The process he's referring to is a planet that's 3 degrees warmer than pre-industrial levels by the end of the century. But you have a responsibility to be a good Canadian and do nothing. As unpalatable as it may seem to you. You know, if that quote from that man is a violation of Indigenous rights of all their allies that are fighting on their behalf. It's important she get dragged off the bench, but it's also important to look at the much bigger picture. And the much bigger picture is the myopic worldview these judges have. I mean, why aren't we drawing from the humanities for judges? It boggles my mind. The whole thing is a gong show. I mean, you people have been to court, you've done jail time, you know what a gong show it is and how they keep changing the rules as they go along. You know, when Jim Leiden and Stacey Gallagher were arrested for defending the Tsleil-Waututh, you know, because of what do they call it? Consent. The Federal Court of Appeal actually came to the same conclusion a few days later. Okay, so why aren't these judges apologizing to these men? They should be given retribution for their damages. But these judges won't apologize for that. You know, I mean, the second round of consultation was just as much of a gong show as the first one. You know, it was all fluff. Oh, by the way, I made 2 Justins. If Nancy and I are over on Gambier and I'm not around and you see on the news he's growing his beard back, this just clicks in from behind. And by the way, for anybody that has been arrested and fined or you're planning to, I want you to have some fun to come back here, take a look at the back of the piece later. You'll see where all the pulls are. There's the jaw pulls, there's the arm pulls, there's the head, and I want you to have some fun, okay? Because it's very therapeutic. That's what Gujau said. If you're not having a good time, you're not gonna win.